Welcome to the Hardwood Court of Opinions podcast. Today, we're bringing you one of our quick episodes where we focus on one topic and spend about 10 to 15 minutes discussing and bringing in entertainment. Before we get started, I'm going to introduce myself. I'm Aaron. They call me Ace. Some people call me Mr. Cheesecake. We got my guy, Nate. What's good?
What up? What up?
We got B. Spence. What's good?
Cheers.
Okay. And then we got Mr. Hooks. Matt Hooks. What's going on?
Not much, man. What's good? What's good?
Bringing that energy.
Bring some more energy.
Bringing that energy.
The energy is
Yes,
high.
What is that? All right. So today, we're going to introduce a segment that's called Rewind the Greats. What that is in today's time, we get so enamored by spectacular things, and that causes recency bias, right? You know, something exciting happened, and everybody's like, oh, well, that's the greatest, that's the best, that's the most fun. And we forget about the pastime, right? I know y'all see it all the time.
Sometimes.
Always.
We can kind of
all the time.
Everybody does it.
Yeah.
Right. So what this segment does is it allows us to dive back into the past, into some of the greats, and see what they've done, bring in context of the times, you know, the rule changes, or if we'll use this in other subjects like acting and music and stuff like that. And then what we'll do after discussing and bringing out everything from the past, then we can compare to the current, and then we can actually decide, okay, maybe he is the GOAT, maybe he's not. You know, we're trying to get rid of recency bias and introduce the younger generation to some players and people that was even above, you know, before our time.
I don't know if you'll never get rid of recency bias. That's what it is. Most recent, you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So that's what this segment is about. So today we're gonna focus on the spectacular Michael Vick.
Hey.
And the topic is who's the greatest mobile quarterback. That's what we're gonna focus on today. And the subject at hand is Michael Vick. So let's dive into it, fellas.
Okay.
You know, Mike Vick was one that dude was spectacular.
There's no one like Michael Vick. No one like Michael Vick.
The fastest human being I've ever seen on a football field.
We have never had at that position a quarterback with his kind of speed.
The physical talent that Mike Vick has, I mean, it's outrageous.
Oh, he's Houdini. I've never seen anything like it.
Number 7 starts to tear that jersey off. There's a big S underneath it. Touchdown, the incomparable Mike Vick.
I mean, electrifying.
Right.
Electrifying. How y'all feel about Mike?
I mean, he was so athletic, though. That was his big thing. We hadn't seen any quarterback in the league that athletic that looked like he could actually be a receiver or a running back or something like that. That was the difference, because we've seen what we considered mobile quarterbacks. Steve Young, he was one of the greats. He said he had to stop running and start passing to actually win like he needed to.
Yeah.
Think about it. We saw Randall Cunningham, right?
Sure.
Oh, absolutely. Athletic, little skinnier or whatever in his build, but could still swing that thing. But then Michael Vick came along, being so fast, he could actually make defensive backs look silly once he got past that first line of defense, right? So that's what made him so spectacular. And he could still swing that ball with that left hand.
Facts. That thing looked so sharp coming out, man.
Real quick, though, too.
Like a bullet. It didn't look like he had a full, it was just, and it's there. I mean, we've seen mobile quarterbacks, man. I think the element that Mike Vick brought was just he'll juke you too, because you look at like Cardell Stewart, right? He was mobile quarterback, but he wasn't out there breaking ankles like Mike Vick was. Boom, you gone. Then he'll boom.
Yep.
30 yards down, 40 yards down, 50 yards down.
Listen,
It was like the first one where your quarterback was the fastest person on the field and the quickest person on the field. Like that was unheard of. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
That's true. Yeah.
So,
that was the difference. That he could sling that thing too. Yeah, we've seen runners that could go and get you 10 yards, you know, and everybody knew he was going to run. but still be able to let that thing fly. That's what made him special.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I watched because Matt was telling me I should watch the Mike Vick 30 for 30. So I watched the first episode, and they knew the guy was electric, speed-wise, quickness, shifty. They knew all of that. Yeah. But the thing that was most shocking is because we've had speedy quarterbacks before, right? The league didn't allow it initially. They would try to transform at least the black ones into receivers or running backs. They wouldn't allow them to stay at the quarterback position. But I'm sure there were some electrifying, speedy guys that had some arm talent. But the thing that made Michael Vick stand out, because that was the known about him, right? The thing that people discounted was the cannon that he had. I mean, he's throwing 60 yards down the field off of a run.
Off of a busted play.
It looks effortless.
Yeah.
First play from about the 12, and there is Vick, as you talked about, John, rolling and launching downfield for Deshaun Jackson, who accelerates, caught the opening play, and all the way for a touchdown. 88 yards.
It looks effortless.
Yeah.
And when that package, that combination of, okay, this guy, we can't let the receiver get behind us because this guy that we're so worried about will launch it over the entire teams. I mean, he's throwing from the 20 to it seemed like the other 30. And it's just like, what is that?
Yeah, and that changed the game, though. Remember now, a lot of the defensive coordinators, they had to go get players that linebackers that were faster, that could actually spot. Now, remember back in the old days, I call them the old days, back when Mike was playing, which is my day. So yeah, I'm older. Right. But those linebackers, they were athletic, but they could not run with a Michael Vick, right? So they started having to get the smaller, faster running backs, because when Mike scrambled outside of the pocket, he could take that thing 25 yards. But you let these cornerbacks let the receiver go. Receiver gets behind you, Mike will sling that thing like a whip right down the field, touchdown, 60 yards. So he changed defenses as well as far as personnel goes.
Well, I mean, he kind of changed the NFL in a way as well. With in that time, he was kind of an iconic figure as well. With Allen Iverson bringing hip hop into basketball, he was doing the same for the NFL, and he was the first one that was actually accepted. You know what I mean? And
they from the same place.
Yeah.
They both from Virginia. That's
And it's crazy. Like, it's always crazy to me when I hear these guys say, like, oh, I wish I would have paid more attention to my craft and actually studied the game and this and that. Like, you know what I mean? So you never would have seen his true potential because he wasn't even putting in his all, but he was whatever you want to count him as, the greatest or whatever. Like, that's crazy to me.
That was eye-opening in that 30 for 30.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I haven't.
Did you guys see that?
I didn't. I had to take a look.
Oh,
that was eye-opening. This cat wasn't even following the playbook or studying or really practicing. They were giving him so much leeway because it's Mike Vick. This is the most electrifying thing we've ever seen.
Yeah.
And we want this guy to stay happy. We don't want him disgruntled, because if he's disgruntled, the electricity that he brought to that non-winning franchise was like, he had more power than the coach. If the coach makes him mad, he's out. Mike Vick's above him. Like, we know that's typically how it doesn't work. I don't care who you are. Like, Tom Brady doesn't have more power than Bill Belichick.
Hey, do you remember, and let's remember, it was in ATL. So you got a black electrifying quarterback. And I don't know if y'all remember when he got hurt, Arthur Blanks rolling him around, the owner pushing him around in a wheelchair.
Wow.
That told the whole story. I remember seeing that. Oh, this guy has the keys to the franchise.
Yeah.
You have the owner. Can you imagine Jerry Jones pushing a wheelchair around with his star player in it? Ain't happening. He'd have somebody doing it now, but he's not going to do it himself. Arthur Blanks.
It's crazy.
Oh, I got to change directions real quick, though. Y'all play Madden growing up?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So you remember when Michael Vick and Madden, when everybody in that little pass vision, his was so small though.
His was tiny, bro, but he'll run. He'll just once he hit that corner, it's a wrap. It was unreal.
That must have been that year, that down year. Was it 2006? I think 30 said when they were starting to question can he really throw? Can he really stay in the pocket? Does he have accuracy? That must have been that Madden year, because before that, we didn't hear that.
Yeah.
Right. They didn't
that was like the first year that Madden.
I used to play with Peyton Manning, and Peyton Manning's vision was
the
like
whole field, bro. It was the whole field.
They did.
Bro, you think Michael Vick, boy, his was like you had someone's shoulder. That's it. Like it was it.
Right.
That was so funny. But everybody would pick him and just run the whole time. You didn't even need to throw the ball.
Yeah, they were saying that dude was. They were saying in that 30 for 30, Brandon, that they would try to get this dude to sit down and watch film or do some kind of study sessions, and Mike Vick just out there like, who the next video I'm gonna be in? Because he was it.
Yeah.
Who the next? Yeah. So, I mean, that, like Matt said, what could have been if dude would have took his craft fully seriously? Because he was operating on pure ability.
Yeah. Pure God.
That's crazy though.
Yeah.
Crazy. But it also, and I want to I may rewatch that 30 for 30. It seemed like that coincided when he started having accuracy issues.
Yeah.
Oh, in the time frame of the 30 for 30. I mean, I don't know when I didn't check like when his passing percentages went down and stuff like that. But in the 30 for 30, they lined it up as in, okay, this guy wasn't practicing. When they gave this dude consecutive days off, he out there wilding and all that stuff. And then that was like the year when he couldn't hit a stationary target. But that was the same year dude had over 1,000 rushing yards.
In the media, though. So, you know what I mean? Even though when he was playing well, they were still coming down on everything else around him, and he never really bounced back, plus all the injuries that he would go through and all that kind of stuff.
Now, remember, though, I would never be too hard on the media by the way they treated him. That was different. We were not used to seeing that. Yeah. Remember, any other black quarterbacks, they were clean-cut guys, well-spoken, great image for the team. Mike Vick came in, just like you said about Allen Iverson. They thugged that thing up a little bit. They're in videos. They're wilding out.
Yeah.
Right? And then you got the NFL welcoming them. And, of course, it's because now they brought in a whole different audience. I mean, yeah, black people like their football. But now everybody's like, man, this Mike Vick dude is doing everything. And he looks and acts like us. So he did change a lot, man.
Right. Him, like you said, what AI did for the NBA as far as marrying the profession to hip-hop, per se, Mike Vick in a way did the same thing. So yeah, they opened the acceptance of it in that, those who supported the NFL, just like Allen Iverson did, and those who didn't like it, obviously, like you said, in the media fought against it. But that was kind of a big marriage of the two worlds. Man, once I saw that, because I didn't know that. I didn't know dude wasn't working on his craft. I didn't know, like, to the extent of the greats, right? I didn't know he wasn't, studying.
It was a big deal. After he came off that, it was a big deal back then. Y'all younger than me, but I remember it. It was all over the place when he started having accuracy issues. They started saying, hey, this happens. And you had some of the greats stepping out saying that, like Steve Young and those guys stepping out saying, hey, he's not putting in the work. We're going and talking to teammates, and he's, like they said about a lot of other players that didn't make it in the league, he's the last one in the film room, first one out. Not staying after working with receivers and things like that. After a while, in every sport, it starts to hurt you.
Yeah,
absolutely. You gotta stay on your game to stay relevant, and it's young bucks coming for your head. Absolutely. They want that spot.
That, you know what I mean?
Man, like that actually,
out a little bit. They might not be able to stop you like defenses and stuff like that, but they're gonna figure out little schemes and all that. And you got to continue to get better. And you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's $1 billion industry, bro. These are grown professionals. They'll figure something out after a while if you're not focused.
Absolutely.
You guys want to compare a little bit, or what? You want to compare it to some of these younger guys today, to Michael Vick?
Absolutely. Yeah. So, Brandon, one of the things I wanted to mention was I was going to ask who's like to y'all the official Swiss Army knife. Who was that in the league?
Currently, or
no, just period. Not like history that you know of. You mentioned his name earlier, but for me.
Who, Cordell? Yeah,
Cordell.
Yeah, he was doing
this dude is the quarterback.
Yeah.
He's a receiver. He's
the
kicker.
Slash. Yeah. They called him Slash.
Yeah.
You don't know that? Yeah. He's a quarterback slash receiver slash kickoff return guy slash. He did it all.
That was a bad man.
He was.
Kicking field goals, running back.
Yeah, he was the man.
Okay, so before we talk about the current, you guys had before Michael Vick, I asked you, who do you think? Who was the greatest mobile quarterback? Was it Cunningham?
No, it wasn't Cunningham. He was nice. But no, it was Steve Young. He won with his ability. And a lot of folks forget it just because he's a white guy. The dude was athletic. And that was the thing. If he needed to run it, he could go get you 15, you know. Right. But if he had the protection, he could stand in that pocket and cut you up too. So I think it has to be Steve Young. But I mean,
I got you.
Randall was up there. The Randall had to be up there, man. People forget, man, John Elway was a monster too.
He was. But
he was.
Who was the black quarterback that was down in Houston?
Warren Moon, that was my guy.
He was that dude. A lot of folks didn't know about him because he came from CFL for a while. Yeah. He was the man over there, got in the league. A lot of folks didn't know his name until they saw him moving around, and he could stand in that pocket and still cut you up as well. So when he got in the league, he kind of changed it up. But that's a little part.
No, I used to have a Warren Moon jersey. I used to love Warren Moon.
Yeah, he was the guy, man.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So what about
people always confuse Warren Moon and Randall Cunningham?
Yeah. Well, now who reminds you of Vick? I mean, I think it's pretty obvious. Lamar.
It's obvious, but I don't think he's the quarterback that Vick was.
We don't know yet. He's still young.
And then he'll have the discipline. These quarterbacks have the discipline to get better now. You know, Vick didn't elevate his game, but these guys are a lot smarter nowadays.
Absolutely.
What is he giving right now? Like 180 yards passing a game or something like that?
Lamar is?
I think so, somewhere around there. I mean, that's not a lot at all.
It's not, but the game has changed so much, man.
Right now, I'm going to go with Russell Wilson is probably the best running quarterback maybe ever.
I don't consider him a running quarterback. Do you? He runs when he needs to.
Yeah, he doesn't take off because he's
a perfect blend, though. Like,
well, he can run. Now he can run, but
he like I understand what you're saying, Matt. He is a great blend, but he's not. I don't consider like Patrick Mahomes and Russell Wilson as mobile quarterbacks. They have the ability to, but those are arm talents.
Absolutely.
I think they're both, though, because they just, you know what I mean, they came up with the magic serum to perfect all of it to where, you know what I mean, I'm going to run, I'm going to protect myself, I'm not going to do too much. Like,
well,
they're not electrifying runners, though. They're not electrifying runners, though.
The best thing yet.
Huh?
I say he's electrifying to me. Russell Wilson is the best thing.
He's an outstanding quarterback, though.
Yeah, I said his running isn't electrifying. He's great, and I think Mahomes has the ability to become the best.
What about young Buck out of Arizona?
Tyler.
He's electrifying too. Kyler Murray
is in the same mold as Russell Wilson, right? Are you gonna say he's a mobile quarterback or?
His running is electrifying.
Absolutely.
Russell Wilson's running is not electrifying.
Russell just can take off on you. He picks his spots.
Right.
Murray will get out on you, and Drew can make you look bad.
He's the smartest quarterback. Russell was the smartest quarterback.
Absolutely.
That's what I said. Russell Wilson is IQ with God-given talent. Kyler Murray, that's electrifying.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And he can be the fastest one out there, too. These guys think they have a beat on him, and he squeaked through this little hole, man, and in the end zone before you know it. He's a little fella. But the thing is, just like Russell Wilson, he does not take big hits because has that baseball background. Yeah. He knows when and how to get down. Sometimes he'll slide and he slid 10 yards.
Oh, I seen that.
That brings up another thing, though. They had to bring in, I forgot what baseball player or whatever. They had to bring in a baseball player to try to teach Mike Vick how to slide, and he still couldn't figure out. They was like, I don't know how this.
Man, that dude used to
just watching videos of him sliding. It is horrible.
Yeah.
They needed to Joe Burrow that his sliding is terrible.
Yeah, he's bad. Yeah, they got to get him some help, man. I bet you, your boy in the Chiefs, hey, what's his name?
Patrick Mahomes.
I bet you he's getting some lessons now. I mean,
he played baseball though.
I know, but he still would try to hold on to that thing and do too much, like Dak. That's why Dak is out.
Yeah,
man.
that's just
you can't do too much, man. You got to know. Hey, take the loss. You live to fight another day. You can't always try to get those extra yards, which some of these guys have got to learn.
Yeah.
You know somebody that's also pretty. He's not anywhere near as an electrifying runner as Mike Vick, but the same mold as in came in run first, but has a cannon. Josh Allen for the Buffalo Bills.
Oh yeah.
He came in mobile first, but the cannon on that dude is different.
Right.
Yeah. He's a big old boy too.
He's big, man.
Yeah, right. That's why I said not like Michael Vick, but the same mantra, right? Run first, but the cannon on that kid is
What y'all think about Cam Newton?
Man, Cam.
That's a big boy.
Well, he definitely is.
That was like, I mean, at his time, he was like the LeBron of football.
Yeah.
Just big, fast. Like he bigger than your linebacker. Yeah. I mean, it was just crazy.
And I think that's hurt him though nowadays. Man.
You take hits, you don't last. You take hits, it's just
You used to running over people.
You don't last that long.
Yep, absolutely. Get used to running over
what's going to be our closing argument for Michael Vick? We're going to have to wrap it up, sadly.
Well, I wanted to give you guys a stat. So something that Unc brought up, he said that Michael Vick, and they've had, I forgot, there was a guy named Fran Tankerton from the 60s that was a mobile quarterback. So we've had some mobile guys.
Who?
Fran
Tarkenton.
Tarkenton. Yeah.
You used to do all those commercials.
Yeah. So they've had glimpses, but Mike Vick, I want to say, from my opinion, even though they've had glimpses, I think Michael Vick changed the landscape. And even though it took some years to get a crop like we have now, I think Mike Vick was the beginning of that. And when you look at the NFL now, when I looked at the 32 teams, I think 19 of the teams have quarterbacks that have mobility. That's what it is now. That's 60%. 19 of the 32 teams have mobile quarterbacks or have the ability to scramble. You know, the oldest division in the league is the NFC South. 3 of the 4 quarterbacks are still cut from the old school clock. Matt Ryan, Tom Brady, Drew Brees. And then you got Bridgewater, who's mobile. But that's like the old division, but they're greats. So 19 of the 32 teams. So the majority of each division is either 50% mobile or all mobile, for the most part. So that's what we at now. You got to be able to scramble and help the team when everything breaks down. You can't just be pure arm talent now.
Right.
So that's an interesting stat. That's that Michael Vick effect.
Yes, sir.
I think.
So what y'all think so? We opened it up by saying, is Michael Vick the greatest mobile quarterback? What's the verdict from us? Our opinions, fellas.
Absolutely.
He changed the game.
Yeah.
Changed the game.
I agree.
he might not have been the first, but he definitely opened the gates to the change in how the game is played today.
Right. Allowing everybody to see that, hey, this will work.
Yeah.
It would not. Hey, the mobile quarterback will work.
So for all you young heads that's looking at Lamar Jackson and Cam Newton, I'm sure you know who Michael Vick is, but go watch some stuff. Different. Straight different. With a cannon.
Facts.
Yep.
Well, go ahead and let us out, man.
There you go, man. So Michael Vick, let us know who y'all think is, or your favorite mobile quarterback, or just your favorite quarterback in general. Leave that down in the comments. Leave a like, subscribe. Thanks for joining us in another short episode with the Hardwood Court of Opinions. We're going to keep them coming. Stay tuned.
Blah, blah, blah.
Yes, sir.
Later.
Yeah. Good stuff.